welcome to the first episode of the Public Humanities podcast with guest speaker
Rachel Scherzer.
Welcome. So could you start us off with a brief introduction of yourself and your position here at Wittenberg?
Yeah, my name is Rachel Scherzer, she, her, hers. I'm the Assistant Director of the Hagen Center for Civic and Urban Engagement. And in that role, I work primarily with the Civic Engagement course and everything that has to do with that, as well as community service programming, sort of events and things of that sort. And I work a lot with helping students to think about social change and making a difference in their community.
So how does your position interact with the humanities?
Well, a big part of my position is helping students to understand the community and the communities that they're a part of, and what's affecting those communities, what different things are going on in them. And so that's really a lot of sociological kinds of concepts and ideas, and all the sort of ideas around social justice that are really very focused on in the humanities. So a lot of those kind of things are in my day-to-day work and are things that I'm helping students to understand better. I have a background, my undergraduate degree is in English, and I've also studied history and women's and gender and sexuality studies, and a lot of the concepts that I learned in all of those things, are things that I use day to day in my job.
What role do you see the humanities holding within the community?
I think the humanities are a really important part of our communities because they help us just understand ourselves and where we come from and what kind of things we need to do to change the communities that we're a part of. And when we talk about community issues, one of the biggest things is that communities can be dealing with a lot of things, but they can often be disconnected from each other. And the humanities are a great way for us to connect, for us to talk about those basic issues, those basic ideas, those basic emotions that we don't often talk about. And it's a really important part of the process of making change to talk about those things, to talk about why we don't feel like we're thriving, why we don't feel like the community is a good place to be, and what kinds of things are missing. And all of that goes back to the humanities and what kinds of ideas, art and history and psychology, those all kinds of things are a big part of that.
How do you think we can increase the humanities presence within our community here in Springfield and Clark County and even Greater Ohio?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest ways to do that is to make space for the humanities. And I think that in Springfield, there are a couple of really, big ways that those are already happening, especially with things like the murals. As a new person to Springfield, I'm really, really interested in how having public art, I think, changes the way that the community feels entirely. And I think, saying that's really important and keeping that up in all kinds of different ways outside of just, that one project is a great way to increase the presence. And I think it's making time and space and not seeing them as something that's extra and something that we have to spend additional time on, but something that's core to who we are, and we have to have it because it helps us to be better humans and helps us to, deal with the big things that we have to deal with, that it's not just, it's over there, but it's a core key part of that. And, as a lot of people are working in Springfield, and it's just continuing that and making sure that everybody has access to it and that they're able to see those things that already exist.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure having you on as our first guest speaker.